Hello to all my wonderful subscribers, devout disciples, students, viewers, and followers. Welcome. This is your Master GongSun. We are continuing with our discussion of Taoist meditation. The anthology consists of the Cultivation of Realization, which is what we're studying right now. So feel free to grab yourself a copy and follow along. This copy has been compiled and translated by Thomas Cleary. So I'm just reading out some paragraphs that I find particularly interesting, profound, and worthwhile to talk about. And then after, I'm giving my own opinion and interpretation. All right, let's continue. Today's topic is thoughts. The past is based on the present. The future is based on the past. If you have no mind in the present, the past is naturally over. This is just another way of saying don't worry too much. If the past is over, there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to accept whatever mistake you've made, since you can't go back and change the past. Right, let's think about this. If the past is based on the present, which is true, right, and the future is based on the past, which is very much true, because the past and the present created the future. This reminds me a bit of this saying that Lao Tzu has many wonderful sayings, and they all made perfect sense because they were not only profound, but also relatable, very applicable to daily life. You know what he said? He said that if you are living in the past, or rather, if you are angry, then you're living in the past. If you are worried, then you're living in the future. But if you are what? Does anyone know this? Anyone know? If you do know, write it down below and see if you're right. But if you are what? It's a very famous saying. If you are happy, then you're living in the present, which is true, right? You're not thinking about the past, before, or after, or the future. You're just happy. So don't allow your thoughts to torture yourself. We're much better than that. Okay, let's continue. To cultivate realization, it is essential to stop your thoughts. To stop your thoughts, it is essential to observe your mind. When you observe your mind does not exist. When mind is non-existent, objects are empty of themselves. Since mind and objects are thus, there is no stopping. So how can observing be? Now that might be a bit abstract, a bit of a mouthful there, so let's unpack it. To cultivate realization, it is essential to stop your thoughts. That's true, because don't forget, we have a monkey brain, right? Or monkey mind. We hop nonstop from one unrelated random thought to the next. To stop your thoughts, you must observe your mind. When you observe your mind, you realize, hey, your mind does not exist. When your mind is non-existent, objects are empty, because if it doesn't exist, then how can you have thoughts? Right? It takes a while to understand this, but just meditate on this for a bit. I can answer questions down below if you'd like. All right, let us continue. The eyes, ears, and mouth are three treasures. Shut them and do not allow passage. Let go of willfulness and return to empty nothingness. So, of course, the wuzi, right? Freedom from thoughts is normalcy. Yeah, that's so true. Because sometimes our thoughts are, not only are they exhausting, because there's so many of them, your mind is racing a mile a minute, but your mind also has the ability to dictate your emotion. It can make you sad or angry depending on what you're thinking about. So it's very important for us to control our minds. And I know so many people who cannot control their minds, and they torture themselves needlessly and endlessly. And if this sounds like you, then you have to learn to control your thoughts. How do you do it? Well, the minute your thoughts are drifting off to something negative, just think back to something happier. something positive. And we've all had something that's made us really happy. So think back to maybe a particular childhood memory or something that happened that you can go to in your mind. Okay, let's continue. Those who maintain mindfulness are free from thoughts because they realize that thoughts have no sense of their own. Being conditionally originated, they are therefore empty. Now, this last phrase is quite profound. If they have conditions, these thoughts are actually quite empty. So you're allowing something that is essentially empty to begin with to dominate your mind and dictate your emotion and therefore behavior, and that's a shame. So in many ways, this is just this little treatise here is about how to control our thoughts, and the Buddha discusses this as well in his Noble Eightfold Path. Right thought is one way of breaking free of the cycle of reincarnation, of being stuck in samsara. Right? We Taoists think similarly. Right? We also believe that this earthly plane of existence, even though there could be moments of great serenity and beauty and happiness and joy, is not necessarily a good place to be overall. Overall, we would much rather be somewhere better, somewhere in a non-physical plane of existence, such as, I don't know, let's say the divine plane. So many different planes out there, take your pick. Because these planes are still better than here, because there's no physical suffering. All right, this has been your Master GongSun. As usual, keep living in alignment with the Tao.